Hello and welcome to today's Randomised Gaming Weekly live stream. I am your host once again, Random Gamer Riven, and today's video is actually looking at a link to the past on the Game Boy Advanced. So A Link to the Past is an iconic GBA, well I say iconic GBA, it was a port of an iconic Super Nintendo game. Now we do actually, this is planned to be reviewed at some point on the blog in the next month or two. We did the draw in actually just before Christmas, and I've been sidetracked by a number of other things, but it will be getting reviewed in the near future. I do plan to do a full playthrough of it. As you see here, I'm not quite as far through it as I'd quite like to be. This is probably what would be described as the seminal Zelda game, in that it's actually the biggest one ever made, and by far it puts most of the others to shame largely. Unfortunately, the Zelda series has really had a really rocky road. You had the original 4 games, which are all something very special in how they tried to do something with the genre, push it. Even the second game on the NES, which perhaps wasn't that popular with many of the fans, did a lot of really nice ideas, and I wish more of those ideas seen in the second game had later reappeared in other games. Sadly, however, we all know that the second game is sadly derided by a lot of fans, even though there are other more disturbing later games in the Zelda series that should be heavily derided by fans. And as a fan of the series myself, I was deeply disappointed with many of the later outings. Even the most recent one, Breath of the Wild, is very much a game without much content in it, which is a worrying trend, and fans of the Zelda series historically seem to lap up even the bad Zelda games without giving them any bad flack. This is the yes, right trigger. So used to using the SNES controls. So this is the first dungeon in the Dark World, which I thought I'd actually do a playthrough of, seeing as this is where I'm currently at on the current save file. And I basically wade through it. And you see, so we've previously done a video of this which showed the start. I thought I would give my opinions roughly on it. I'm not going to reveal too much because I do a review, but I think it's fair to say this is there's no doubting this is an all-time classic of a game. I was interested to see the Game Boy Advance version actually played in this setup, because it actually gives you a when you actually play it like this, you actually realise how close to the original SNES version, the GBA version was, but just mainly the player largely certainly the player and the Game Boy Advance handheld unit suffered due to the quality of the audio on the system. It's actually when you listen to it on this setup, which is the Game Boy interface software for the Game Boy player, you actually get it sounds very, very close to the original SNES version, which quite surprised me. Now, I've finished Link to the Past countless times, and this is probably my all-time favourite Zelda, although I will admit the Game Boy one was fantastic. Outside of a slight screen reduction, this is pretty much a one-to-one port of the Super Nintendo one. So there are a few slight changes with how some of the scaling works, because weirdly the GBA couldn't directly do Mode 7, but it could correctly emulate it, because I've seen games that have actually emulated Mode 7 correctly, but strangely most developers never did that, and there was a sort of weird myth that it had problems doing it when it actually didn't. Press the L button to find the dungeon. Ooh, that's 10 years of room there. It's been some time since I've done a full playthrough, so I will be exploring as I go, because it's been a very long time since I've played through the game. It's Now, I can't get past these at the minute. I will be able to later, because I need the hammer. I'll get the hammer from this dungeon that allows me to utilize them. And I'll go next. As dungeon structures go, this is by far some of the best dungeons in all the series. Some of the later games got overly complex, overly slow dungeons. This is some really nice themes of the dungeons, and the dungeon design in this really set the pace for a lot of the later games. The problem with a lot of the later games is they're all historically smaller than this, which does put them at a disadvantage. The first one on Game Boy was fantastic as well, because that really did up the ante following this. So in fact, it was surprising how big a game they could actually fit on the original Game Boy cartridge when they did it, because at the time the Game Boy was still, I think there was some concern they wouldn't be able to get a decent sized Zelda on a Game Boy. But if you ever played Link's Awakening, it's a truly fantastic Zelda game. Okay, does that mean if I'm going to blow the floor anyway? Yes. So I'm at B1, so there's nothing below me, so that's probably not a good idea if I go down. message. So the Zelda series has definitely had its ups and its downs, it's fair to say. I think the early 3D ones were some of the worst in the franchise, I must admit. Breath of the Wild started off well and then fell apart. Twilight Princess and I think Wind Waker probably the best of the 3D ones. The series has really struggled. I mean, the fans lap it up and people say wonderful games, but when you really delve into them, you can see the problems a mile off with a lot of the games and the later games of the series. So technically this game got a sequel, although A Link Between Worlds, which was released on the 3DS, is actually a remake that they changed at the last minute to a sequel because apparently they didn't think it was good enough as a direct remake of this one, and it was true. If it had been a direct remake, it would have been awful. I mean, 3D World A Link Between Worlds is sort of a nostalgia for fans, but it's not that good a game. It's a poor man's version of this, so... And I'm not really going to speak too much about the 3D ones, I've never been... So Wind Waker I really enjoyed. Wind Waker I still think is a really good game. Just trying to work everything, so that changes that switch. Does this take me? This one. Tempted. Something's telling me to tempt fate and blow that bridge up. Yeah. That's one change I do not like with this version. It adds in a really yappy sound effect, which does get on my nerves. It's one of the few poor decisions they made in this remake. Yeah, I thought it was going to be there. I think of the 2D Zeldas, this is the first one that has aged very nicely. The original two on NES did age, the visuals aged quite not particularly well. Be kind to them. I mean, there have been, some people may argue that none of the NES games aged well, but there actually have been some quite nice NES games, and I'll be the first to admit that. They still look very good, certainly some of the really late Konami ones. So yes, I am instinctively, I do have instinctive memory. That's been a long time since I've played this, and do sort of know puzzles and things. Yeah, I remember this. Okay, well I won't be exploring here then. Okay, I've obviously got to go back to the other one and... Something the hearts respawn, obviously not. Up the bridge before. What I love about this Zelda is the sheer number of lovely touches with it. Everything from the fact you could chop the grass down with a little thief thing that jumped up. When it fell down, it would then give you a reward, to the magic. To sort of like fish, from the magic spells you got, to the special like fish that you found on some of the locations that you throw back in. And there's a real charm that I felt this had that many other Zelda games never did after. And I think for me, this does remain the pinnacle of the series. It's just, everything was just so spot on with this one. It's a shame some of the later Zeldas never quite... This was much more adult in many ways of how the plot develops. I always felt that later Zelda games kind of sanitised this a bit. You know, at the start, initially you think the maiden's being sacrificed. There's some... You have the Sinisters of Agnum. You actually, a lot of what's really good about this is the fact you still had Ganondorf. I think the biggest mistake Nintendo made in this franchise was introducing Ganon's human form. Now, admittedly, Ganon's human form actually comes from this version, this one, but it always felt like it was a bit of a weak rendition of the character. Ganon was a massive monster, and here's this sort of ginger-haired, slightly odd-looking wizard. But yes, his name is mentioned in this because he's actually referred to as the Thief King, which subsequently was reused in A Link to the Past, which was actually the first remake of this design. This is the one Zelda game that actually had 2 remakes of, basically. And neither were particularly very good. Every time I got a Keep me alive even if I die. There's actually a layering bug in this version here. You see, in the SNES one, these guys' fireballs would go above the... would actually go above to light your way. That's the one issue I've seen in this one that disappointed me. Actually, I think the transparency effect is not quite right on the GBA either. So there are a couple of issues with this one where it's not quite as good as it should be in a few places. Yes, classic. In the sound of a wall you can't break, that's the sound of a wall you can break. And there are a few hidden walls in this game that are not marked via cracks as well. Which is good because we won't be pounding on wooden stakes in the dark world. We can pound on those funny looking face things. You can also use it to flip certain enemies as well, such as the tortoises you saw a little bit earlier. So this way there's no chest or anything. Triggers for. So there we go. Never fear, I have a fairy. Okay, so the compass will add significance, so you see that it adds the splashing points to the map. Although this dungeon, by the looks of it, there's not a huge amount left to explore. We've got the two doors there. I've got the treasure. I have... It really annoys me when I'm trying to explore an area and you realise you go one way and all of a sudden you travel on the background. This was one of those games I actually loved for the exploration factor because it's such a big game, and it took me, certainly I think, one of those games it literally takes 3 or 4 playthroughs before you know everything about it. There'll always be something in the next playthrough you'll discover you didn't find in the last one. Teleport to the boss and we know where that is now, so that's pretty much everything explored and we know where we've got to go. yes, those sort of jumping up puppy face things we can also whack down with the hammer. Redo this because these are very. That is an unexpected problem. Where's the other key then? So I can fall down there, which I haven't done, although I think that'll just did I get to do one of the doors? That is unexpected then. Well, workshop. I need to get some health before I go fight the boss. Well, I admit, death in this game wasn't really that much of a danger. I don't think it put you back that far. So that's the whole of this dungeon. I need a quick heal up before I go looking for... I don't really want to go running too far from the main. So yeah, there's the Mode 7 map as it looks on the GBA version. Yes, we are, Daniel A. This is one of the newer versions of the GBI interface. It's also the high definition version, which, because I used the lower one in our Game Boy Advance playthrough of Final Fight, and then I realised that the high def one was actually better because it doesn't have the shadowing. The thingy one has the shadowing. The high fidelity version. So it gives a really nice interface, and it does look and play smoother than the official software. And it's actually disappointing when you realise the software they could have done with it, why Nintendo perhaps were a bit cheap with the software, or certainly couldn't release an updated version. Now this is my favourite part of Zelda, when you have the beeping sound effects and you want to get rid of it. I need some health. What I need is a fairy fountain. Or some enemies to kill that will restore the... give me some hearts. I do want to stay in the vicinity rather than go. Yeah, standard standard the standard Game Boy Advance software really is rubbish, especially in PAL, because it's only it was only 60 Hz. It wasn't progressive scan. And of course, the interlacing does slightly alter the frame rate. Since a couple people said about the software, I've been using it, I think we'll just completely ignore the official software anymore. You can still use the official software borders with it as a download, but I must admit, having played this, it really is a world apart, and you realise how much better this is in comparison to the official Game Boy Advanced player software. And you do wonder what Nintendo were playing at with it. Yeah, this is the high fidelity mode, and I'm running it at 480p, I should say, via a digital output device. So I actually have a review coming of the digital output device we are using, and I'm hopeful it'll be up by the end of the week now. I've finally got into the last quadrant of doing it. But it's fair to say many people don't have access to the official component keys because they are so rare and expensive to buy these days. Yeah, I do recognise you, Daniel. I've seen you comment a few times before, so we do keep an eye on the regular commenters, especially people who make good comments. So it's nice to have you guys come back and chat and drop regular comments on our video. We always welcome the support and the feedback as well. I know there are always things we can do better, but we do like to keep our video quality as high as possible. Hence one of the reasons we actually started randomised gaming, because the poor quality originally on some of the places on the net, and just so many people using emulators as well, not original games, so you're not actually seeing the original game as it's intended, you're seeing a version that resembles something of the original game. I am supposed to be reviewing this in the near future, but I've got 2 videos I want to get done before I actually review this, so, and one of which is the video review related to the device I'm using for this. I really hope one of these things doesn't carry. Okay, I noticed the blue goblin guy seems to be the one giving me the heart, so maybe I'll just see if I can get off him. Seems to be the only one. Rocking hearts. Pack of bombs, I want some health. It's actually surprising how good the music is in this. I always felt that when you listen to the Game Boy Advance, the music was quite bad. When you actually listen to this with the interface, it actually sounds a lot better than what I had suspected the quality was. It definitely appears that the Game Boy Advanced hardware itself was perhaps the reason you had such poor quality hardware. When you actually listen to the music on this, it's pretty close to the SNES version. It's not, the sound degrade is a lot less than what I remember when playing on the Game Boy Advance. Ah, health. Right, that's what I wanted. Okay, so I've got some health, so I can go back to the Can we look at the power of gold? Yes, well, you're too late. It's only the first person who touches it. Just think till you find the power of gold, the Triforce. In this one, it's actually the whole Triforce. Yeah, I do. Well, most emulator, I would totally agree on the original hardware, definitely gives better experience. No emulator is currently running at 100%, which is the problem. They just haven't got, cylinder or cycle accuracy yet. Even, I always remember the one on the SNES, the emulator on Super Nintendo, so the one Baiju made, I remember people saying about that, saying how wonderful it was. And a while back, I actually compared that with the game on emulator against the original game. It was the Far East of Eden, so I had the game on SNES running, US SNES, and the game on the emulator itself. And the emulator was about 30 frames behind. I was quite surprised how inaccurate. So emulation is still quite a way behind. I think you still do get better experience on the original consoles. And it's one of the things I can pick up a lot of the flaws with emulators these days, having worked in the industry and just having spent so much time. You eventually start picking up the flaws really easily. And I'm one of those people that just the minorest of flaws will slightly annoy me. Okay, so now I've got my health back, I'm going to venture into actually dealing with the boss. So, let's equip the hammer because I'm going to be smashing his big ugly face off. I do remember which boss this is. As I said, this is actually I've never actually played through the Game Boy Advance version of this in its entirety. So there are a few changes, like the N64 sound effects they've added that really annoy me. And a few other slightly odd changes, a few graphical issues, layering issues, but largely this is pretty much a one-to-one port, with a few additional bits as well, although the extra content doesn't add in a huge amount, but it's nice to always have extra content over the original. I think the Four Sword content's really quite nice. I actually played through the Four Swords for the first time over last Christmas. It was quite a nice experience. I mean, there's not a huge amount of content to it, but it's a nice enough version. I suppose they had to add something to make it for the sort of die-hard Zelda fans who may not have originally thought about shelling out for this GBA port. The added dungeon's not that interesting if they added in for this. There's one you get for finishing the game. I think you have to beat Four Swords as well. It's not that great, but it's a nice extra. I mean, any extra content, but clearly at the time when they did that added dungeon, they didn't have the ability to add in sprites or do new graphics, so literally the boss is a version of Link. It's like the dark version. And one of my biggest pet hates in video games is to have a dark version of a character. That's just one of my biggest pet hates. Having just one of your characters just having a random bland dark version. I'm using the standard Game Boy Advance, I'm using the standard Nintendo GameCube controller, just the standard purple one. I'm playing on a PAL Nintendo GameCube as well, but I'm forcing it into 480p. So it's a standard, your ugly purple GameCube controller. I always quite like the colour. I know the design's always never that great with the huge A button and the Y in it. The triggers are very clicky, which is here there. They are very clicky. I'm not actually a huge fan of the triggers, that's for sure. They were not the best, should we say. They're too slow, and the D-pad is too small as well. I mean, there was the Wafer, which was nice, but that again was just the same sort of... The Stim was just basically the wireless version of the standard controller. I wasn't that big fan of the Waybird, I have to admit. Right, if I go this way, I believe I'm going to hit a teleport that will take me to the boss. And I need to be quite... part where I used... Does that do anything? Is there any sign of a hidden room in here? No. Let us venture into the... So there's some nice extra here for doing this one. I think it's that one. And here we go with the boss monster. First in the Dark World. This is the one you literally stay in front of, just not to the bosses are all quite very predictable. Oh dear. Save and continue, right. Should have been in that run. Okay, let's brave. I'll brave it with this health, that was my mistake. I was getting too eager to smash his face off too quickly. Them all down the pit. So yeah, I'm not a huge fan of the Wavebird, I just generally stick with the standard controller. Yeah, going forward, I think every video we do on the GameCube, certainly for the Game Boy Advance player, will be using the Game Boy interface just because it's so much nicer. I mean, we were doing Golden Sun last night, and it's actually amazing now. We've actually had a couple of people on the channel who are like, "Oh yeah, you're using emulators, aren't you?" Like, no, we're actually using. Oh, but your quality's so good. Like, yeah, that's because we're using. It was quite funny when I see people comment, "Oh, you must be using emulators." Like, no. You just need the right setup. Now, from a legal point, it's actually basically you have to actually only be technically streaming actual hardware versions. So. This is one game we actually have 2 copies in the office because. Of course, you need it for the 4-player mode. In fact, we have 3 because we actually have the US version. Do I prefer this or the Minish Cap? Now, that's a good question there, Daniel. You know what? I'm probably going to say Minish Cap because this was just a straight port of the SNES version, and as much as I love this game, the SNES version's better. That's the simple truth. Yes, this is some nice extras, but there's still a number of flaws and mistakes in this port. If this had been a more closer port to the SNES one, I might have been... But because the sound's taken a hit, because they've had to reduce the active screen area, this to me, I would say the Minish Cap is probably the better one. Interesting with the Minish Cap, I will say now you want to get a US or Japanese copy because Nintendo of Europe rushed the PAL, basically had Nintendo Japan rush the PAL version for some reason. So the PAL version is actually missing content and there's a number of bugs as well which aren't found in any other version. So that's really, really annoying with Minish Cap. In fact, we still need to get an NTS to copy ourselves. There's a great bit on, if you don't know if you've heard of the website, the Cutting Room Floor. That's a really great games website that details the various changes between a lot of revisions, and it's really interesting to see all the changes that occurred between Minish Cap, between the US and between the NTSTs and the PAL releases. Of course, you can also play the Game Boy ones, and I must admit, the Link's Awakening is still a phenomenal game. Seasons and Ages weren't Oracles of Ages and Seasons, I believe. They weren't bad, but they were a little bit like rehashes of the Link's Awakening in some areas. They reused so much of the graphics and visual. Right, here we go, round 2. Don't make the same mistake twice. Bit random what he does, he can either swing the tail or just here. He's doing the fireballs a lot more this time than he was last time. He's not that hard, we basically knock off his mask and then we whack him a few times. Oh, the irony of him taking hits so far. Goes a bit crazy. And there he goes. One other change is that they actually changed, so you'll just see when you hit him he's a dull grey white. Originally they were actually rainbow coloured, but due to Nintendo's epilepsy concerns and guidelines that was actually changed in this re-release. And voila, I have freed the first maiden in the Dark World. Because Ganon, the leader of thieves, wished it, this world was transformed. They do actually refer to him as Ganondorf, and this was mentioned earlier. This is the first game I believe he was called Ganondorf. But it's only a passing comment from the Thieves Guild, one of the thieves I remember. Now the dungeons in this do get progressively larger and harder. And now I've got the hammer, there's probably a few additional heartbeats. You'll notice I've pretty much made sure I've got as many hearts as I can before going into all the various dungeons. There's such a large help. So I'm going to head So she's giving me the location of them all, so... But yeah, you've actually got like the Mode 7 scaling effect there, weirdly. It's not quite the same, but it looks very, very similar. So I'll hang around for a few more minutes before I head off. I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to be streaming tomorrow. I need to think. Any suggestions, any viewers? Certainly, probably something GameCube or Game Boy Advance. Maybe because that and the Saturn are what I actually have out at the minute, so they're the easier ones to do. At some point I should actually do some Amiga videos on the channel, but the hardware is such a pain to get set up, so... I think I can access one of the walls here now. The enemies in the Dark World really do pack quite a punch at this point in time because I don't have... Time Splitter's Future Perfect, you'd quite like to see that, would you? Well, I can do. That, why not? Why not? Yeah, why not? Happy to request Time Splitter's Future Perfect. I was actually playing that the other day. I have videoed that for a forthcoming the review video I briefly mentioned. So yeah, we can play that for an hour. Now here's the part where I need to certainly I'll put on Future Perfect. I mean, I loved Time Splitters 2. Time Splitters 1's, I think they were still finding their feet in Time Splitters 1. Time Splitters 3 it was actually very good. It was solid. I don't think it was quite as good as Time Splitters 2 in terms of the story. The actual gameplay mechanics were improved, but it's one of those games that I think I kind of prefer the second game. But yeah, it's a really great game to see. The second one and the third one's a really solid game. I do remember enjoying it. Had a lot of really good multiplayer options, so I'll actually pop that up. You know, I'll do that one in widescreen as well, since it's one game you can do in widescreen and 4x3. Although admittedly 4x3 gives you slightly, it's certainly worth a pick up. I don't think it costs that much on GameCube either, Future Perfect. So again, like with Time Splitters, there's an awful lot to unlock and play in it. So. So I will actually, I'll do that because I've got it. I had it, I videoed it the other day, so might as well actually get it out. So yeah, you've picked tomorrow's game there, Daniel. I need to sort out. Friday night's fight night will be on. We're going to do Soul Calibur 2 with the Link, so we'll get to see Link in Soul Calibur 2. Maybe I'll do a playthrough of it as well for the channel, because of course Link was only available in the GameCube version of Soul Calibur 2. He's the one character that's never reappeared in it, because I don't know if I don't think they released Soul Calibur. They did do it. Nintendo did do a re-release of it a while back, Soul Calibur 2. Namco did, and not Nintendo. and it was actually the first time you could play as Hayachi and Spawn against one another. That was on the 360, and that was a really good update, but that didn't include Link for obvious reasons, and I don't think they released it on the Wii U, and I don't think there's a version on the Switch, so I'm surprised they haven't actually ported that to the Switch. I want to head down a bit. I'm just going to make my way to the second dungeon, roughly where it's about to start, so then I'll finish. We are approaching finishing time, so thanks for watching. Oh yes, the bomb shot. Yeah, I won't play this too much more because I'll only get like halfway through a dungeon. Let's buy Mr. Nope, sorry, Mr. Dragon. I do love the character design in Dark World. It just looks so lovely with the it's like odd quirkiness they have with everything. I mean, I really can't say what a wonderful game this is. If there's anyone watching this who hasn't played this, you need to play it on whichever version. Virtual Console, Wii, get a SNES, get the Game Boy Advance version. Just try and get a copy and play this. It really is one of those. It really is a phenomenal Zelda that just puts so many of the later games to shame. Creativity, with its originality, with how it looks, with how it plays. The visual style, I think it's aged far better into a far more enjoyable game than the N64 ones. Actually, you might have seen us here. I might as well just quickly do this quest. Did you find my flute? Yes. So this is the kind of the slightly sad tale of the flute player in this one. Although technically everything has a happy ending in the end, so you do all get 3 little characters who got converted in the Dark World. See there, you can actually see and hear him coming away. However, if you get too close, he vanishes. And as soon as you give his Dark World form the flute, he's gone for good. You've got the little ostrich, the birds, and the rabbits all listening. And they all run off. It's just subtle touches like that that you don't see now. So some of those characters, those little animated characters, are only seen in the sequence. So I'm now going to dig. I think it's literally around the grove. With his ghostly visage. Yeah, he is. He's such a great little character. That's what I love about this one. There's some really great little characters. You don't have any of the silliness with the which in the N64 one you have all that and slightly odd designs. In this one, all the characters are designed to look like human beings. In the later games, you often had slightly weird. I mean, I'm not a fan of Ocarina of Time at all. I dubbed Ocarina of Time my first Zelda. Because so many people who love it, literally, whenever I ask them, have you played any other Zelda? They go, oh no, Ocarina was my first. I'm just like, yeah, that's probably why. It's one of those games that, when you actually compare, it's basically a remake of this one with a number of horrible 3D pacing issues, put it bluntly. So I'm trying to find this flute. I'm probably going to be digging up the whole of this grove. I know it's somewhere in here. You literally have to dig up the whole of this grove. So it's... I thought it was round. Oh, I'm missing some of those flowers. It's literally... I'll just quickly find it to show people where it is. It's like digging up the whole row. I'm just vandalising nature. There, we'll stop destroying the globe. Some mystical powers. Just the flute has a number of songs. Oh, that's right, it calls the... you have to go to the statue. So what I actually want to do with the flute is... I can show you the two things to do with the flute and then I will wrap up. So we'll play the little song for our little friend, unfortunately. The other thing I'm going to do is go to the weather vane there's a weather vane in town, and there's a reason I want to go to the weather vane in town. Well, I have a feeling I've got to go to him first. So the flute player's father is actually in the bar. In fact, if I talk to him, he might even say something. He does change his dialogue. It's this gentleman here. Please do this for me. Don't worry, you will, mate. Once we've saved the whole world. So I'm just actually going to do the more. Yes, that sums it up perfectly, Daniel. I do love the fact his hair's pink in this. It's so sort of like a weird. I know this game wasn't quite 80s, but it's like a weird 80s. It's like the best Link ever. The fact he's got pink hair. Well, I'll be vandalising weather vanes in a second, so we're going to play the little... I don't know what's alarming, or the fact that I've just blown up the weather vane, or the fact that people of the town of Kanko had sealed a bird inside the weather vane for some whatever evil purposes. But yeah, there's some really nice subtle touches in that, and it's just like the whole look of the character is much more human looking compared to some of the later games. None of the silliness either. There's a much more darker and more adult story here. And as I said, the fate of some characters, like you saw from the dialogue of the father, the way he's talking as if his son has passed away. Whereas the later games, the Zelda series really does shy away from suggesting characters get killed and all sorts. And this one has a much more adult tone to it and just plays much more... It's more meaningful as well because it's got a much more darker story in place. It just tells a much more interesting and... Oops, I was not supposed to get the bird until after he's already turned. So basically you're supposed to play the thing in front of him and then he'll turn. So bug it basically. Yeah, you'll see him, you ask you to play it for him and then he will sadly turn into a tree because that's what the dark power has turned him into, him coming here. Right, so I've got the flute. It does mean I can walk all over. I can't walk all over this area, but in the light world I can use the flute to summon the bird to travel. I will save the game and I will finish for now. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Daniel, for joining me on the stream with a few other people I know. I will indeed put up Time Splitters Future Perfect for tomorrow's stream, so thank you for suggesting that. That will definitely be on tomorrow's stream. I'll actually do that one in widescreen as well. So I do hope to see you all there tomorrow if you are. I will be on... Doomed him. Yes, I did. I did indeed doom him. But don't worry, once you finish the game, you save them all in the end when you revert the Golden Land back to its natural state at the end when you revert the Triforce. Still got to actually do the whole playthrough of this, so that's going to be fun. I still need to play through it, and then I might, once I play through this for the review, I might actually do a proper full-on playthrough of this game. Not those games I think, yeah, you know, I'd like to get like a full playthrough on the channel. That's going to take me about 4 or 5 hours, I think, which is going to be interesting. But thank you for watching. I will be back tomorrow with Time Splitters Future's Perfect. And yes, have a good night yourself, everyone, for watching. Thank you. I've been your host, Random Gamer Riven. As always, please hit that like button if you haven't already. And if you're a viewer and you haven't subscribed to Randomised Gaming and you like our content, please do like the... please do subscribe to the channel. Let us know what you think of these nightly streams in a minute. We're doing it partly to keep everyone a bit cheerful. I'm sure you all know the reason why. Thanks for watching, everyone. I will finish the stream here. Thank you and good night, everyone. Oh, and just before I go, I should add, this is the Game Boy version of The Legend of Zelda, A Link to the Past with 4 Swords. It was released in 2002. It was developed by Nintendo in conjunction with Capcom, and it was published by Nintendo. I guess I should put that in the start, but never mind, got it in the end. Thank you, everyone. See you all tomorrow.